Shut up. And that's what I wanted in there. Okay. I'm learning how to use it. I just want to show it. No. Let me find out I'm live and I didn't know it. Oh my goodness. Look, everybody, I am new to streaming live. So apparently I've been on here for a hot second. But anywho, my son, welcome back to My Son is About to Go to College series. And this is day 2. And he is moving in to his dorm tomorrow. And he came upstairs this morning and he said, "It's my last day." And I'm kind of like, he's happy. And I'm kind of like, I mean, okay. I am like truly excited for him on his new adventure, because this is something that I have been envisioning for a very long time. One of the things when I help parents navigate school systems, I always ask them, what is the goal for your child? And sometimes it can be vague, sometimes it can be specific. We always have like one idea in mind, is that we want to make sure that our child is successful in school. And because I am a college graduate, I'm always pushing college for my kids. Now, let's be clear, if they become different people and I see that they actually need something else, then we can always pivot to that. But whenever I think of navigating educational systems, I am really thinking about the end goal, which is, college. So I'm just excited about this new chapter in his life. But at the same time, people are asking me like, how do you feel? I'm like, it's okay. I'm not feeling any kind of way because he went away for the summertime. But here is the thing that I forgot and that I have been thinking about over the last couple of weeks. Well, he's my oldest son that lives in my home, and my younger child is a 4-year difference. So because he's the oldest, he's the one that takes out the trash, makes sure his younger brother takes out the trash. He's the one that goes outside and do the lawn. And I don't like outside, and my youngest son don't like outside. And now I am highly appreciative of all the things that he does. But I'm kind of like, I am going to either have to get on my youngest son or go outside with him to do these things, because my oldest is leaving. And it's something I never really considered, because my son is going to college maybe like 45 minutes away. He's living on campus. But ideally, he wanted to go to a school 5, 6, 8, 10 hours away. So I have been preparing myself for my son to be far away. And even though he's not going to be far away, he still has an entire another existence. And I'm going to have to sort myself out. He's also my coffee buddy. I love coffee and tea. And he's my coffee buddy. So I'm now going to have to talk to my youngest son about being my tea buddy, because he likes tea. But what emotions are coming up for me is I'm excited for him. I am going to miss him. But on the other hand, I am a little bit nervous, even though I have been working for years to make sure that he can self-advocate. This is a new adventure. He's been nervous entire summer. He's been packing, and now I'm like, I know that he's ready, but at the same time, I'm nervous. And in my household, when it comes to anxiety, I am kind of like the person that de-escalates the anxiety with questions, help them reflect. And when I'm anxious, I kind of like just withdraw because I don't want them to be nervous. Because if I'm nervous, they're nervous. So I'm not nervous. He's nervous. And I just keep reminding him of all the ways that he's prepared and that he's ready to go on this new adventure, as well as the supports. Like, who can he talk to? So, of course, he has his therapist. Identifying people on campus. I'm really loving his school because it's so much support. And knowing that if anything, as the co-pilot, I guess, as parents, we're always in the driver's seat. And I have been slowly moving into the passenger seat. And I guess eventually I'll be in the back seat. Is helping him identify and push him towards other people for support. So, that is in place, and I know that it works, especially when he talks to me about his therapist. And I'm excited for him, but this is a new chapter, and I won't see him every day. I won't see him every day. So that's something to think about. And if you have a child who is leaving, what's coming up for you? What are you thinking about right now in this new adventure? I know it's exciting, but there's also other emotions sometimes. But I know that he's supported independently. I've made sure that he knows how to get academic support. We've talked about mental health support. We've also talked about managing anxiety through working out, managing anxiety in ways that he particularly does not like mindfulness or meditation. We've talked about that, as well as stepping out of the box. So I know that he's okay. I know that now I'm in the co-pilot seat. I'm support and to remind him that he's okay and help him navigate where he needs to be. But I'm still a little nervous. But I always act like I'm not nervous for him. And one of the things that I made sure that was in place to make sure that I could be a co-pilot right now, is to make sure that I had the power that when I needed to come in and support him, that I could. So one of the things that I've experienced as a parent who have older children, as well as an education strategist, is that when children go into the financial aid office, they ask questions. They may not understand exactly what's happening. They may be taking steps, but at the same time, they're not taking the steps that's needed to fix the problem, right? And that's, as a parent, you will call in. You will call the school and you will attempt to talk to them, and they'll tell you, well, you're not the student. I don't have to talk to you. And you're just shut out of the process. Now, back to advocating. We've been advocating them forever, as well as we're adults. So we know how to talk to the financial aid office in regards to financial aid. We've been there in some shape, way, or form when we need to figure out what's missing for our child to get the financial aid. Where did the ball drop? All of that conversation that really puts a block for them to be able to access education. Right? So one of the things that I put in place is that before my son turned 18, I have financial power of attorney. And I provide that paperwork to the financial aid office. Now, we're talking about the difference between, I know he's independent and I am taking a co-pilot seat, but I want to make sure that when he needs me, I can come on board all the way, not take over, but support. And the main way I can do that is to make sure that the financial aid office has to talk to me. So I have the financial power of attorney. Now that particular document, it does more than just, it's not just about financial aid. It's also about billing. It also has other parts when it comes to banking and things. But when I implemented it and I talked to my son about it because he had to sign for it, that's like my primary purpose, is to make sure that when it comes to the financial aid office, he has support. The other thing that we put in place is I have educational power of attorney. So my son is in rehabilitative service administration. And if you were listening to me today because your child is neurodivergent, autistic, has dyslexia, previously had an IEP, your child should be registered with your local rehabilitation service administration. Why? This administration, they do several things. They have the grants to support neurodiverse young adults around careers. So if your child is going to college, they do have grants. They have a grant to support them with their tuition. They also support with books. Now, if your child is not going to college, but they want to get a trade, RSA will also pay for that as well. So my son is registered with Rehabilitative Service Administration. And what happens is he meets with his counselor throughout high school, because your child should be registered in ninth grade. I mean, it's never too late, but ideally ninth grade. And he meets with him twice. They talk about his goals, his academic goals, leading up to his graduation and after. They also support with like summer programs and work opportunities while they're in high school and outside of high school. I have been talking to the advisor because my son was a minor. Well, now he's 18. And the counselor does not have to speak to me. The counselor is actually supposed to speak to him. So that was another reason I put it in place, not to take over, because he does talk to his counselor. And we'll talk about that transition in a minute. He does talk to his counselor. But if anything happens where I need to come in and chime in and support, I can. One of the moments that stick in my head the most with my daughter when she attended college is she was like, I need you to come with me because we're going over my accommodations and I don't know what to say. And I'm like, I got you. You know, I got you. And we go meet with the counselor. And basically she says, well, it's nice meeting you, Mom. And she's going to be fine. She's an adult and you can have a seat. Yeah. Yeah. So what ended up happening is my daughter, you know, she's not used to advocating for her accommodations. And in my opinion, she got railroaded. So everything was, we'll see, we'll try. So she said she needed notes. Well, let's see if you really need notes. You know, she asked if she got extra time. Well, let's see if you need extra time. That's a no. As a neurodivergent specialist, that's a no. You come in prepared. You don't wait for let's see and then you fail. But she did not know how to advocate for herself. So I wanted to make sure that when Asar needs me to chime in, I have the power to chime in and you can't shut the door. Now, with that being said, there is something called FERPA, the Federal Privacy Law. And every school has a document that is like basically a release for parents. So if you do not have an educational power of attorney, you still can ask your child, talk to them, explain to them why they want to give you access to their educational records, and they can sign a release form. So you would want to ask for a FERPA release form, and they'll sign it and they'll put your name on it to say that you can have access to their academic or educational documentation paperwork. And I'm going to tell you, there was a situation with one of my clients where their child, he just really needed support. He didn't understand that basically he didn't understand what was happening until he was actually on academic probation. And when we tried to talk to him about like exactly what happened, he seemed to be very confused. And that is one of the reasons you would want to have access to your child's educational records, as well as, you know, your child. Yes, we want them to be independent, but you know your child. You know when you need to check in. You know when if everything might be scattered, their executive functioning is off and it's scattered, and they actually really just don't know what's happening. You want to give yourself a little hatch where when they need you, you can help them. So that's one of the things with the FERPA release form and education power of attorney. Now back to my son becoming an adult. So we've been doing this transition. He turned 18 in September of last year, and when he turned 18, things started happening because he's an adult. So I couldn't make his doctor's appointments. He had to create his own account, and he was not happy. He was like, "Why do I have to create my own account?" Because you're an adult now, so you have to create your own account. For the health insurance, he's no longer in my portal. He had to create his own health insurance portal. He had to create his own lab portal, and he is not happy. He was not happy, and he was like, "Why can't you do it for me? Because now you're an adult, so now you get those responsibilities for yourself." He's like, "Oh my God, adulting is so hard." Like, he hasn't even done anything yet. The only thing that he's doing right now is taking ownership of portals. And he's like, "It's so hard." And I'm like, "Boy, this is adulting, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine." So he made his doctor's appointments. I asked him that of course I drove him, but I asked him that he want me to come in with him, especially when he had to turn in his health forms. And he's like, "Yeah, I want you to come in with me." And I'm like, "Okay." I've learned like these last couple of months that even though he wants me to be there, I let him lead, and not only chime in like if he forgets something or he needs support. So that throws him off sometimes because he's like, "I thought you were going to say," and I'm like, "No, I'm support. I asked you before we came into the meeting, what did you want me to support you? How did you want me to support you?" And he's like, "Okay, adulting is hard." I'm like, "Dude, you just started." But those are the small ways that I have been, working on independence with my son, but at the same time, knowing that life sometimes is lifing, which means you can get very overwhelmed, especially when you try new things and you haven't gotten your feet wet. And I'm creating an ecosystem where he is independent, but I'm in the background supporting. And that's one of the things I think is one of the best things of being a parent sometimes is when you support your child with how they are self-advocating or how they are making sure that they're okay. Because you say, "I told you," you go into the classroom and you tell your teacher or you tell an administrator that this happened. And then after they verify that they did it, I'm the parent that, I get on the phone, I'll write a letter afterwards. But from their perspective, I did what you told me. I advocated for myself. I'm empowered. Yay, I made it. And I'm like, "Yeah, you did it. You did it." And, now that my son's going to college, that's happening more. So I am in awe because he's not my only child, but I'm just in awe of how far he's come. And today I was on a parent teacher meeting because my son is in a program called Global Gateway. So as a freshman, he will be going to Greece in the spring. So they wanted to have information session for parents to talk about the expectations of the program, how the program looks like in each country, what the students have to do, financial responsibility. And, my son also took out some small student loans. So anything that talks about finances, he just like, he reads it. He's like, "I need you to read it again. I need you to read it after me." And I'm like, "Well, did you read it?" "Yes, but I need you to read it. Read it. I want to make sure that I understand." And I'm like, "Okay. Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you can see that because sometimes you need more than one set of eyes, right? And sometimes how I understand it may not be exactly what I'm reading. So I appreciated that. But we were in this meeting for the trip to Greece, and parents, we are on the line. Okay, we're in here talking. We're in there asking all the questions. We're asking questions like, should we meet our child in the prospective country before or after the semester? And I'm like, ooh, that's a good question. And they explain, like, as far as the children getting there, they don't do group transportation or travel. They're traveling as individuals. We talked about financial aid. And as we're talking about it, I'm like, oh man, this will be the first time we are world travelers, but he's traveling without me. Do you hear me? Like, he's traveling without me. And I'm like, oh man, this is, I'm feeling some kind of way. My son does not like to fly. Both my children do not like to fly. So I was like, ooh. So after the information session, I spoke to him. I was like, yeah, the transportation is not a group. And he said, well, I have to fly by myself. I was like, yeah. I said, so do you think that you would like for me and your brother to come and drop you off instead of coming at the end of the semester? Because listen, I'm going to Greece. I told him from the very moment he chose the country that I was coming. My plan was to come at the end of the semester and then we could fly back. But I have always been planning, and every time I tell him I'm coming to Greece, he would say, don't use me as an excuse. If you want to go, just go. I don't care what you're saying right now. You're not going to shame me. Okay, my generation does not have shame. You're not going to shame me and guilt me to make me think I don't want to go to Greece. I'm still going to go. And with that, sir, guess what? I'm coming the last week that you're there. I know you have finals, so you can't hang out with me. But I'm here. But after today's information session, we decided that we would drop him off. See, he really doesn't like to fly. How is he getting back? He'll be okay. We'll figure that out. But he said out of the options of going and returning, he would love to have support with going. So we'll see. We will see. And tomorrow we are moving in. He is packed. His computer arrived today. He's so excited. His computer arrived today. He did all his laundry. Tried to pack up the car early. We had to tell him to wait. So we shall see. I will come back on here tomorrow and talk about the move. And if you have any questions about FERPA, power of attorney, or just let me know how's it going for all the parents out there whose children have gone to college. This is their first year and you're dropping them off, or you've already dropped them off. So until next time, be patient with yourself and your child.